रोहित, मैडम ने ज्वाइन कर लिया है, आप इमीडिएट उनको को होस्ट बनाइए।
बना दिए।
हाँ, ठीक है। मैडम नमस्कार, मेरी आवाज आ रही है? मैडम साहब, म्यूट किया है आपने, जरा प्लीज अनम्यूट करिए आप।
हाँ जी डॉक्टर साहब, हेलो। एम आई
नमस्कार, जय श्री राम।
एम आई जय श्री राम, एम आई ऑडिबल?
जी जी जी, सुन पा रहे हैं।
बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया।
जी
हाउ मेनी पार्टिसिपेंट?
मैडम, 8 से 9 मिनट में स्टार्ट करते हैं, पार्टिसिपेंट्स धीरे धीरे ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं।
नहीं, मुझे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। आई एम जब
जी
बोलोगे।
जी
हाँ, तभी शुरू कर
जी
दे, ठीक है।
जी जी, थैंक यू सो मच मैडम, थैंक यू।
ओके ओके, नो इशू।
ओके। जी। अजय को को होस्ट बना दीजिए। डॉक्टर रेवांगिनी, आप सुन पा रहे हैं मुझे?
यस सर।
आई थिंक ऑन एन एवरेज 200 प्लस पार्टिसिपेंट्स ने यहाँ ज्वाइन किया है, 200 प्लस पार्टिसिपेंट्स ने यूट्यूब पे ज्वाइन किया है। तो हम ये कह सकते हैं कि 400 प्लस साइंटिस्ट और रिसर्च स्कॉलर्स ने लेक्चर को अभी तक ज्वाइन कर लिया है। विद इन 1 मिनट हम 500 के नियर अराउंड पहुंच जाएंगे। फिर आप अपनी मॉडरेटिंग स्टार्ट करिएगा, ठीक है?
ओके सर।
डॉक्टर रिवांगनी, आप स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं।
ओके सर, थैंक यू सर। सर, एम आई विजिबल?
यस प्लीज।
ओके सर, थैंक यू। Science creates knowledge, innovation creates solution, and empowered women creates sustainable futures. Namaskar to one and all present here. I am Dr. Evangini Ranjha, Director HR and Academics, AgriMeet Foundation, Bharat. And it is my immense pleasure to welcome you all to today's session of Ankuran 2026. It is a matter of great honor to introduce our distinguished speaker, Dr. Mridula Devi Ma'am, Fellow of NAS and Director, ICR Central Institute for Women in Agriculture, Bhubaneswar, Odisha. Dr. Mridula Ma'am is an eminent agricultural scientist, innovator, and visionary leader with more than 30 years of outstanding contributions in the field of food processing, value addition, nutrition security, women empowerment, and gender inclusive agricultural development. She began her illustrious journey with ICR as a ARS scientist in food and nutrition and served at ICR CIPHET Ludhiana for over 2 decades. Her pioneering research on value addition of flaxseed, millets, cereals, pulses, oilseeds, fruits, and vegetables has led to the development of several nutritious and health promoting food products that have benefited both consumers and the food industry.
Dr. Ankur, it's too lengthy. Not required.
बस मैम 1 मिनट की परमिशन दीजिए प्लीज। जी।
इसमें सत्यनारायण की कथा थोड़ी पढ़नी है।
कोई बात नहीं, कोई बात नहीं। डॉक्टर डॉक्टर रेवांगनी प्लीज। हाँ।
Okay, sir. A prolific innovator, Dr. Mridula Ma'am has 4 patents, 2 design patents, and 7 copyrights to her credit. She has successfully commercialized 19 technologies benefiting 7 food industries and 32 entrepreneurs, including many women entrepreneurs, thereby translating scientific innovations into real world impact. Since taking charge as a director of ICR Central Institute for Women in Agriculture, she has been at the forefront of promoting gender responsive agriculture and women led development. Under her leadership, impactful initiatives such as NutriSmart Vision Program and Shri Anagram Program have reached several villages across the country, resulting in establishment of nearly 4,000 nutri-gardens and strengthening nutrition security for countless families. She has also advocated initiatives such as Griha Model, Nutri Garden, and Sustainable Sheeprenneurship Model, empowering rural women through enhanced livelihood opportunities, entrepreneurship development, and economic self-reliance. Her exceptional contributions have earned her numerous prestigious recognitions, including being elected as a Fellow of NAS, the IASC Team Research Award, the ICR Award for Team Research in Agriculture and Allied Sciences, and several Young Scientist and Lifetime Achievement Awards. With over 120 research papers, more than 40 books and publications, and a lifelong commitment to science, innovation, and social transformation, Dr. Mridula Ma'am continues to inspire thousands of students, researchers, and agricultural professions across the country. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a warm and heartfelt welcome to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Mridula Devi Ma'am. Ma'am, we are deeply honored by your gracious presence among us, and we eagerly look forward to gaining valuable insights from your vast experience and visionary leadership. So, With great respect and admiration, I now invite Dr. Mridula ma'am to kindly address the gathering. Ma'am, the virtual platform is all yours. Please.
Am I audible to all?
Yes, madam. Audible and perfectly visible.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for giving the opportunity. And I will directly start the presentation and discussion. I can say it's not about the presentation because this presentation is a unique kind of presentation, entirely different, than what Madam has spoken a lot about processing and value addition. I'm going to speak on mainstreaming gender equity for inclusive growth and sustainable agri-food system, which is the, one of the our national priority about the women-led development. Initially, I will share some of the, gender-related concept that what is basically gender. Many times we we use this term gender and SEX interchangeably, but here in research and extension, gender refers to the economic, social, and political cultural attributes and opportunities associated with being men and women. It is entirely different. When we think about a man, means that men will be in some attire, women will be in sari, and women from social angle, women means their responsibility is within the household. From that those perspective, if you see gender, then it is entirely different, and that's why we are discussing that it is not we all are equal. We have to treat everyone equal. We must treat everyone equal and address their the expectations, provide them opportunities, provide they should be provided with their rights and this thing. Then another term is the gender sensitization. Very often we use this term gender sensitization. It is basically the process of creating awareness regarding what we are trying. We are trying to make the people aware about the what are the equality issues. How can we modify the behavior and views of the people? Basically, the goal is how can we ensure the gender equality through our effort. And in the social setup, and you can see this Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao scheme, which was launched in January 2015 in Haryana. This is the best example of gender sensitization, as this impacted a lot and improved this SRB, that is sex ratio at birth, from 876 to 923. Then mainstreaming. Very often we use this term mainstreaming. This is a strategy basically to make the gender equality an integral part of the dimension of all the activities which is being carried out in any of the organization and in all the, from all the sphere of activities. So that what is the purpose behind mainstreaming? So that both men and women can get benefit, and can derive the benefit equally in order to achieve gender equality. And instead of equally, equitably is the better term, I think, to achieve the gender equality. And here, few of the pictures have been given. That is one, basically, I try to, project one example of the National Food Security Act 2013. And, as per this act, during that, 2013, it was declared that earlier, before this act, means before 2013, the head of the family on the ration card, was, it is being for the men only. But since then, since 2013, after this, this launch of this National Food Security Act, this eldest women, it was declared that eldest women shall be the head of the household for the purpose of ration card. And on the ration card now, you can see that the head of the family is the women. And with this small initiative, without spending a single penny, and the system could able to mainstream more than 20 crore of the women, in the stream of the national food security. And this has a very long-lasting impact as far nutrition, food security of the family is concerned, contributing toward the secure nutrition and also the social empowerment of the women. Then self-help groups, FPOs, women-led FPOs. This is the practical, this scheme is the practical mechanism of gender mainstreaming, because they integrate women. These programs integrate women into the core economic and institutional and decision-making structure of the agriculture, rather than treating them as peripheral beneficiaries. And so far, about 90.9 lakh self-help groups, are there in the country. And that way we can say, and every self-help group see that a minimum 10 members of the women are there in the self-help group, and thereby about this way mainstreaming of the 10 crore or more than 10 crore women could have taken place. Then another very common terminology we are using, that gender analysis. This is basically the research and planning tool that investigate how gender relations influence access to resources, decision making, participation, and benefits within a given context. Then another very important term is gender budgeting, and now we are advocating that in every of the organization, this gender cell should be there, and every organization, because at the government level and at the policy level, there is directives that 30% of our budget must go for the, it should be, designated as the gender budget, and beneficiaries should be the women. And this should be the, this is a kind of a way of, mainstreaming this, gender in the budgetary process, and very important for ensuring the equity and in order to achieve the gender equality in a given context and in the given year. It was started in 2005-6, and since then every year our gender budget of the country is increasing, and this is a very three kind of budget are there in your part A, part B, and part C that you can see in the slide. And as far our institute is concerned, we are unique because our 100% is the gender budget, and our 100% beneficiaries are the women beneficiaries. Then many times we use this term gender gap and gender disparity. Both the terms are indicating more or less the same, kind of a message. But the gender gap refers to the miserable differences between men and women in terms of access to resources, opportunities, rights, and outcomes within the society. It basically highlights the inequalities in the area. It may be any of the area. It may be education, it may be employment, it may be income, it may be political participation, health, or maybe, access to resources, opportunities, or whatnot. And when we say gender disparities, here basically gender disparities and gap almost, it is the same, but in case of disparities, we are basically talking about a statistical difference between, just like in the graph, you can see, gap is there. Say, for example, in employment, gap is there. But the only, how, it is, it is affecting, and what are the basically this widened gap is the disparity. Then gender discrimination, gender length, these are the, common terminologies which we are basically, using. And gender equity. What is gender equity? Gender equity is basically refers to the process of being fair, means as per the need. Just like, a very common example available in our system is the reservation to a seat. That is means ensuring equity because of the need of that particular state. Here in agriculture, we are talking about the, women is we have to address their issues, and in that process, if they need some extra attention, then that will come that will fall under the category of the equity. And then gender equality means it is, it is very much clear to that, in any of the given condition, everybody is getting the equal opportunities. You can see in the picture, if anybody want to see across the, the wall, or they want to, harvest this, fruit from this tree, then by providing this stool of the, or means table of the same height, it is not possible that for this, this smaller height people, it will not be possible to harvest. And for if we wish that, all could be able to harvest the fruit from this tree, then we have to provide the ladder or a stool or a table as per the need, as per their need. So that is, means fairness in our action. That is the basically the equity. And these terms are not the new term. Basically, our Constitution of India came into existence during 1950. And, it is since then it is there. Equality concept are very much there. Article 14 clearly indicate that we cannot, all are equal before the law. Article 15 and 15(1) and 2, prohibits the, from discrimination against any citizen based on the, reason, race, caste, and sex, place of birth, or, for any reason. Article 16, clearly indicate that we must be, everybody is equal as far opportunities are concerned. That way, equally is very much prevalent, and we must, it is, the difference is only in the treatment. That's why issues are there in the society and people are facing. Then this picture is basically, here we are talking about our focus is on gender equity and thereby equality. You can see this picture. This picture speaks beyond the words, beyond the sentences. This is clearly depicting that how a woman is contributing at the family front and at the agriculture. Multiple role, clearly indicating that, her multiple role, her triple role, you can say, reproductive role, productive role in the agriculture sector, and also the community. See, our goal, what is the goal of Indian agriculture? It's the ensuring the food and nutritional security of the country to the population. And we are doing that. Now, every year, our godowns are full. Every year, we are achieving a linear growth in a new heights in the production. Recent estimate, if you see the recent estimate, then our food, we are going to harvest, more than 376 million tons. Our pulse production is also going to be more than, 20, though it is less than our requirement of the country, but still it is increasing. Oilseed production, we have made a very significant progress in the oilseed production with more than 43 million tons. Similarly, in the horticulture, in other sectors, if we compare from the, from 19 data, of our present, production, then you can see more than 7 times increase we have, observed, from the, after this 950 or in, independence, we can say. So similar kind of progress you can observe in milk sector, fish, meat, eggs. But in these, all these agricultural milestones we are achieving every year, our women farmers are also contributing tremendously. Not as a farmer, they are also contributing as an innovator, as an entrepreneur, as a community leader. Now you can see a very good ecosystem of Krishi Sakhi, Pashu Sakhi, and this youth core groups in all the sectors, with Matsya Sakhi, Jal Sakhi, and all, and they are contributing. But still, they are facing many of the gender-related issues. If we talk about the data, 30.7% of the female, are in the workforce. And if you see agriculture workforce in 40, amongst the total workforce, 46.1% of the total workforce is in agriculture. As far women are concerned, at the national level, 64.4% of our female workforce is engaged in agriculture, and at the rural level, 76.9% of the female are in agri-food, associated with entire agri-food system. Means they are contributing in different activities. But if you see their contribution, their workforce contribution at the family level, you will find that their total workforce contribution, or you can say their total time contribution in performing those activities is more than 53%, and it is higher than their counterparts, and that again impacting their indicating the heavy workload, and at the same time also impacting their health. This is the recent study we have conducted at ICR-SIVA, and this clearly reflects that women are contributing across the value chain. It is not the production or post-production. In all the sector they are there. Their presence is there, ranging from 59% in the crop sector to the 76% in the fisheries household. Here, this data is basically dependent on the is based on the in the agricultural. It is not based on the population. It is based on the agricultural household. That should be taken in consideration. Though they are actively participating, actively contributing in crop sector, their time contribution is more than 20%. In livestock sector, their time contribution is more than 45, around 46%. But still, they are facing many of the gender issues, many of the disparities, and because of the prevailing gender discrimination in the society, leading to the poor asset ownership, and that further impact their income status, their economic status. And if income is there, then poor control over income and poor participation in decision making is another aspect, along with many of the social barriers like limited education or poor education and limited mobility due to the social norms, time-bound mobility, again because of the social norms, then time constraint because of the multiple responsibilities. And in many of the areas, seasonal unemployment is also there. And nowadays we are talking about, or we are seeing that feminization of agriculture because of the male migration from the rural area to the urban area, and that impacting their, increasing their workload at the family and in the agriculture as well. And in addition to these, issues, technological gaps, drudgery related issues, occupational health hazard, all these also associated with women in agriculture. Technologies are there. Every organization have hundreds of technology, and they are claiming that they have developed need-based technologies, farmer-centric technologies. Of course, organization are developing, and that is also reflected in our agricultural growth. But as far women is concerned, women in agriculture, agri-food system is concerned, there is hardly any organization is bothering about developing the gender responsive technologies or the women friendly tools or machines. And if technology is there, if availability is there, maybe at the laboratory level it may be available, but it may be, in market availability in the market is again a big question mark. And if it is available, then accessibility, again a question. Affordability is again, because many of the smallholders of our are the resource poor farmers, are the women, are the resource poor in general because of their poor control over income. Drudgery is, heavy drudgery is there. And in most of you will find that wherever drudgery is there, wherever repeated in the activities where repeated action is required, like weeding, like transplanting, like harvesting. I'm talking about at the small, a smallholder farm, not the commercialized in the area where commercial agriculture is being done in the commercial way. Those farms are their drudgery is not the issues because of the adoption of the mechanization. But in the smallholders families, women are, they are, high exposure to drudgery is there. And in addition to that, more than 57% of our women population is facing the poor nutrition, poor health. And if tools are there, then poor access to tools. They are not able to purchase. Affordability is the issue. Then climate, change impact is always there in case of drought, in case of flood, in case of natural calamities. Our women farmers, our children are the, vulnerable. They are suffering, and it is not only the suffering they are, because climate also increase their workload, and there are the many estimates are there how women are getting affected because of this, climate change. Then extension, we have the world's largest grassroots extension system in the country. But still, our extension services, because of the social norms, because of the, because of the, female women are not coming out from the family and not, getting involved in the activities which are our extension personnel conducting at the village level and also at the many times at the institute level too. And then poor access to skill program because of the many responsibilities, multiple responsibilities. They are not able to find time, to attend those program. And many times our, course program design is also not, well suited to the women farmer. That's also the issue. That's why this gender strategy is required. And we have a very good enabling policies from the government side at the national level, at the at the state level as well. But the policies are there, provisions are there, but it is not, women are not able to avail those benefits because of the poor awareness is the leading cause. Economic disparity, other side economic disparities are there because of the, it is perception that women are less productive. So many things are there, and all these things are, impacting negatively the entire agri-food system. Many estimates are there that if since 2011-12 we are reading, we are listening, and we are that we are discussing that if women could increase, by that way we could be able to increase the yield of those farms by 20 to 30%. And that will thereby we would be able to increase the agricultural output by 2.5 to 4%. And which could be, and that, amount of higher 20 to 30% of the, agricultural output would be sufficient to feed the about 120 to 150 million of the hungry people, and thereby we would be able to reduce the malnutrition by 12 to 17%. And recent FAO estimates is that if we close the gender gap, if we close the waste gap in agri-food system, we could increase the gross global, global gross domestic product by 1%, and that way we could reduce the global food insecurities by 2 percentage points. It's a big achievement we can have, we can achieve, and that will be means 45 billion. We could be able to provide that increased that, gross domestic product would be, sufficient to feed about 45 million food insecure people. And when we know that, such a huge, achievement, can be happen if we close the gender gap, then we all should work in that direction. And this my lecture, our participants are here, students are there, our faculty members are, I think, as I have been told that, associate professor are there, scientists are there. So this, even I try to avail every of the platform to sensitize our, our students, our scientists, our researchers, that think whatever in your, you are doing in your capacity, you please integrate the gender perspective in every of your action. And here at ICR has now actively doing in that direction. And ICR is working with a vision to build inclusive, resilient, and knowledge-driven agri-food systems where women act as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as innovator, and custodians of agro biodiversity. And we are three strategic, we are following these three strategic pillar. Our action are directed toward, these are basically strategies we are following, that our action is leading toward for making them leadership and and representation, enhancing their leadership qualities, moving from participation to leadership in social institutions and agricultural organizations. And economic empowerment is our clear focus, moving them, enabling them from moving from welfare to productive power by enhancing access to resources, credit, digital platform, and agri-value chains and entrepreneurship. And this can happen only if we integrate the gender perspective in all our actions. Then, pillar 3 of our action is, directed towards institutional and policy reforms. And we have, ICR has created the the SIVA was established in 1996. This is the picture of our building, our main block. And basically, the focus was to addressing the generating and disseminating knowledge to promote gender-sensitive decision making for enhancing efficiency and effectiveness of women in agriculture. And our every single action is directed towards enhancing their efficiency, their effectiveness, so that they can contribute to their fullest capacity in realizing our agricultural goal. Recently, ICR has created one national gender platform in agri-food system, connecting. Basically, we all are working, every organization is working, entire NARE system is working towards, for the, we are conducting farmer-centric activities and including, the activities important for women. But we are, working in our own capacities, and either fragmented and isolated efforts are, being undertaken. But now, by creating this platform, we are trying to connect the institutions and evidence and actions for gender responsive transformation of the agri-food system, focusing on 4 important action areas. That is research and knowledge, that is extension and advisories, and capacity building, and policy advocacy for the techno-socio-economic empowerment of the women. Then recently in July 2025, we have, come up with our gender strategy. And this is a very simple strategy, and basically developed following 3 basic, principles, that is integration, inclusivity, and equity. Here, integration is basically indicating that in every single action, whether it is planning, whether it is execution, development of technologies, validation of technology, dissemination of technology, and entire technology development process, extension activities, in all the action, we have to integrate this gender perspective. And gender perspective means basically that the means addressing the challenges, addressing the issues, and addressing the expectation and aspiration of the women. Inclusivity means involving everyone, recognizing diversity, enabling participation. It is not about the all the women and the underprivileged community, marginalized community, and sabka saath sabka vikas. That is basically the inclusivity. And equity means addressing, being fair in our action, addressing systemic barriers, whatever, so many barriers we have discussed, so many issues we have discussed in the previous slide. And means addressing those issues means you have to ensure activity as per the requirement. We have to work as per the requirement of the our women farmer and other groups in the. And this gender strategy, basically there are 2 strategies. One is for gender equitable agricultural research, and another is for gender equitable extension system. Then what is expected basically in the gender equitable agricultural research and education? This is important to promote gender equity in technologies, in practices, in developing farm tools and machines and implements, and climate resilient practices. Means in whatever we are going to develop through our research activities, we have to integrate in order to promote the gender equity. And this gender strategy, clearly state that, we have to focus on 7 key focus areas. The first one is the gender sensitive research environment. What this gender sensitive research environment means over here means sensitizing our researchers, sensitizing our faculty members, sensitizing our students and technical staff through the structured workshop. Here, we are sensitizing by, as on date, I can say that, we have conducted 5-6 training programs, and we are covered almost entire ICR, 114 of the ICR institutes, and all the ICR institutes are working, in different, commodity specific, R&D, and, conducting the farmer-centric research. But now we are aggressively implementing this gender strategy in our system, and we are expecting that entire knowledge system will implement this gender strategy. And for gender equitable agricultural research, for the gender responsive output, means हमारे जो भी output होंगे उसे men farmer, women farmer, and everyone will be benefited. Then another important one more thing I would like to say under this gender sensitive research environment, it is not only in the planning that in our research activity should be that, research prioritization and, involving them. And how will you involve means in every of the training program, in every of the activity, it's important to involve the farmer. You invite them, you discuss them, you listen them and their aspirations, their expectations. They are also good innovators, also their ideas, and that could lead, I think, a very good output, not only beneficial for the for the sustainability of our agriculture, but will also be useful for both men and women farmers. Then gender disaggregated data is another imperative. And we are, our secondary data is available at the national level, and some state agencies are also collecting data. But for conducting any of the research, primary data is the need of the hour, and in that primary data, gender integration is very, very important. They have, what is the degree of participation of women in that particular activity, and what are their challenges, how they are getting affected, and all those information should be, with us, before, starting any of the research program. Then participatory research prioritization, it means that, most of the time, if you see, I could not, showing you the slides on those aspects, otherwise it would be very lengthy. Many times when we discuss, अगर या तो male farmer आएंगे या females आएंगे, but हमारा mixed group बहुत कम आता है. Then it try to sensitize your participants, your farmers, that please come with your spouse. Because at the family level, decision is, not being taken alone in general. Either male farmers are taking, and in the female-headed households, women are taking. So it's better to, that program must be participated by more than, one person from the family, or, both are 2 or 3 person. Then it could be at the village level, even at 3% can participate. And at the, if you're, at institute level, you're program, then at least you can come with also that you can actually, both of them can actively participate in the decision making, and in fact, we can get the perspective of the male farmer and female farmer as well. Then safe and inclusive drudgery reducing technologies, this is well understood aspect, and everybody is getting idea what is drudgery and what is needed. And many organizations are working in this direction, but I would like to request to our professors and even suggest that validation is not a multi-location validation involving a significant number, at least 50 or 100 people doing that validation process. And that we have made mandatory and in our ICR gender strategy, that validation, multi-location validation and involving significant number of farmers, that should be taken care, and it is important for the wider adoption of that tool or that machine. Then resource efficiency is another imperative, and resource, nowadays we are talking about the, because climate is smart and many things are there, and खेत बचाओ अभियान चल रहा है, and because to reduce the cost and or reduce the expenditure on the chemical fertilizer. And in many ways, resource efficiency is not reducing the cost of the chemical fertilizer, or water efficiency means whatever all the available resources should be used efficiently, and that should be our focus. How can we save our this climate, our soil, and use our resources efficiently. Then technology specific dissemination framework is another imperative, and continuous monitoring is very much important. Then as far extension, gender equitable extension system is concerned, and for the technology adoption, and we are talking about the women, then we have to sensitize this our environment, gender sensitive social environment. And when we talk about this gender sensitive social environment, means we are talking about the sensitization of the family, sensitization of the communities. And for that, during that sensitization, because here we are talking about the agriculture, it is not like sensitizing our about our agricultural requirement, because enhancing agricultural output is the ultimate goal of the farmer and of the nation as well. But here we are talking about the sensitization and talking in reference to the gender, in reference to the women in agri-food system, means creating the awareness about the family, about the community, on the aspect which are impacting women, and the aspect like multiple responsibility, their land rights, digital literacy, unpaid work recognition, and sharing the multiple responsibilities. That should be one of the agenda, and very specific agenda, and other reason is specific issues prevailing in that area. Then another very important thing that even in women-headed families, women may not be working on the farm. The worker may be another female laborer may be there. Then it's our duty to sensitize that landlords about the issues of the women laborer they are facing, occupational health hazards, protective clothing. All these are very important to prevent from the hazards and reducing the drudgery, because it's our social responsibility, it's our moral responsibility. It's not like they are for working for their livelihood. Yes, they are working for livelihood, but they are working on your farm. We have to take care of their health also. And then creating this promoting and documenting the success stories, another important area, creating awareness about the government scheme and set program, that should be inbuilt in our every of this thing. Then participatory extension involving the local leaders, local women leaders in this thing. Here many of the students are there, and it is our advocacy, our ICR gender strategy says that students in extension, and we are advocating that one student, one family, if it could happen, it could, if implement the universities or academic organization can implement that, every student should adopt one family, and they they not only its adoption, but they for the continuous, for the entire 4 years program, entire graduation UG program, PG program, PhD program, and they should, in all the programs, they should adopt one family and identify their issues and solve them in the convergence mode, and then submit the report. And I think it could be a great learning, along with supporting the farmers, and also strengthening the extension system. And that is, one of the strategy. And I think definitely academic organization and even students should also, take it positively. Then enhancing the access to innovative technologies. Here, our advocacy is for establishing the machine bank at the village level and providing the access to the technology through custom hiring centers, through processing units, and we are at ICR-SIVA, we have established more than 100 of such units, and we are enhancing the access of women farmers to the tools and small machines, and promoting the mainstreaming of women to the women collectives is another important area of the focus. In gender responsive capacity building program, here also, we have too many. I will not explain these things. I will share the soft copy, Dr. Ankur ji, आपको मैं share कर दूंगी, and you can share with your participants.
जी बिल्कुल.
They could read this, and every single word is important. It is not for many of the participants where, the presentation may seems like, it's a sociology kind of presentation, but it is the need of the hour. And entire ICR system is focusing on making our activities gender responsive, and I think it's a duty of the all of it. This is in brief the GF Krisha and GF Siva. This is the framework which we are following. Here, one of the important these aspects we have discussed, but one thing that integrates gender perspective in course curriculum, that is our advocacy, that gender should be well integrated in the course curriculum of the UG, PG, program and PhD program, irrespective of the discipline. Because here our focus is that, gender should be integrated in our thought process. It is not in, because it can only it will lead to action only if it is integrated in our thought process. And even my personal advocacy is for integrating the gender in the educational program from the very primary education, and only then we could achieve the goal SDG 5, that is gender equality. See, we cannot achieve this, such a big agenda of women-led development, of women-led agri-food system in isolation, though all the organization are working, but concerted effort of required from all the levels, and very collaborative, strong collaboration is required, convergence is required to achieve this such a big agenda of gender equality in agri-food system. And you might have came across this Vikshit Krishi Sankalp Abhiyan recently. It was conducted not very recently, but in the May and June 2025, and during that period, we could reach to 1.35 crore of the farmers, and amongst them 27% of the women farmers, and those kind of very extensive efforts are required. Many times, we are using this term gender responsive to gender neutral. Then what is gender neutral and gender responsive? Basically, when we say gender neutral, means we are, technologies are there, but those technologies, we simply assume that, okay, a small scale machine, okay, women farmer can also use. Okay, resource efficient, this technology is a resource efficient technology. This can be, suitable for both the gender, because, this thing, that thing. But we have not, in the developmental process, we are simply saying without specifically considering their different needs, roles, and constraints. While in case of gender responsive, when we say gender responsive, then means recognizing we have considered their requirement, their aspirations, their need, and on that basis we have developed the technology and ensuring that it will be accessible, usable, and beneficial for all, including women. That basically. Here at ICR-SIVA, see, we are talking about the women empowerment. Yes, everyone is talking about the women empowerment. And if you try, see, in agri-food system, see, in isolation, only talking about the technological empowerment or only economical empowerment or only social empowerment, nothing will happen. We have to address the issues in a holistic manner. And, here at ICR-SIVA, we are talking about techno-socio-economic empowerment. That's why whenever, see, for farmers, it may be the skill, it may be the variety, it may be this thing, it may be access to credit or a market. But when we are talking about women farmer, each and every issue should be addressed only, including the multiple responsibility. One can say that that is their family issues. Yes, it is their family issues. Multiple responsibilities of women. It is they have to, face those things. Yes, they are working, they are contributing. It is their family responsibility, but it is our moral responsibility. It is our social responsibility that we have to sensitize the community. We have to sensitize them for sharing the multiple responsibility. Means बहुत subtle form में सोचना पड़ेगा. Only then we can achieve the SDG 5 if we really want to, see the success in that direction. Now, a few things about gender disaggregate. We are talking about the gender disaggregated data, and gender disaggregated data is the priority of ICR SIVA. And we have created one national information system portal for women in agri-food system. And this portal, this very soon we will be, providing this public access to all. You will find this portal is basically created to for the central repository, about the technology, about the data, about the methodologies, models, and gender fact sheet means, in detail information about the organization, government schemes, program means whatever is the, available with us with this system for the benefit of the women in agriculture. You will see everything on this portal. Then gender disaggregated data in agriculture, we have this booklet, and I may share if it is required. Dr. Ankur, by your participation, I can share the soft copy of this also. That is the pocket book, very friendly pocket book. And then coming to some of the example, anyway, what are the available gender responsive cultivation practices with, in our system? Then some of the example I have, tried to project over here for the understanding of our students, of our faculty member, that like, rice is a very, labor intensive, I can say, farming system. And, when it comes for women in agriculture, it is really for many of the millions of the women farmers. Rice cultivation is not a labor intensive, but it is a very drudgery prone and very physically exhaustive. And for many, it is health damaging also. And if you see the videos of women who are continuously, involved in the transplanting, and you will find so many skin issues and the bone related problems and very severe problem you can see amongst them. In direct seeded rice, this technology is basically, this is a very women friendly, I can say, because it reduces the, not only reduces drudgery, it saves the water, it is water efficient, it saves the labor, and suits to women's schedule also, and can be managed with a small seed tray. That way, many of the varieties which are suitable for direct seeded rice machines are available. Then, like nutrition is one of the focus when we talk about the women in agriculture. And in case of for the rice, high protein rice usually contains 6 to 7% protein is there in general in the most of the rice varieties. But now we have the varieties like CR Dhan. It is rich in protein. It contains about 10% of the protein. And because, undernutrition is very much prevalent amongst women and children, and then this could be, one of the variety that can be popularized, that can be considered for, enhancing the protein consumption of the vulnerable group. And now, zinc during the COVID, you might have heard about this, zinc is important for the immunity. And this is, Dr. Is it a signal to me, Dr. Ankur? Anyway. Am I audible, Dr. Ankur? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then short duration. Women always prefer the short duration varieties, drought tolerant varieties, and here are some of the varieties which requires fewer field visit and irrigation, and easing workload of women farmer, because हाइट अगर उसका बढ़ जाता है तो वो मुश्किल होती है इंटरकल्चरल ऑपरेशन में women को. तो short duration, short length varieties, that is the aspiration of the women farmer. Then many such activities. Here this is the example of our, I have taken from our one of the researcher, that how direct seeded rice is impacting, how much labor reduction is there. And in this CSR 105 variety, this example is showing that we can reduce the labor requirement by 20 to 30% by simply adopting this DSR practices. We can reduce the cultivation cost by 10 to 15%. We can reduce the water requirement and energy requirement by about 15 to 25%. And all these parameters, all these indicators are showing that this direct seeded rice is one of the very much gender responsive. And at the another side, if you see the agricultural output, it is really profitable. Then drum seeding. This is again a gender responsive tool, I can say, this drum seeder. And this also saves labor, and yield is also as this experiment says that higher yield versus you compare with the transplanting, we will get the better yield using the drum seeder, and reducing the cost by significantly. And net income, as this experiment shows that net income increased 3 times, which is the means by adopting the direct seeding, drum seeder and all, we can increase the farmer's income very easily. These are some of the indicators. If we adopt this direct seeded rice experiments or studies, then these are the indicators. Some gender agricultural indicators we all are aware, but the gender indicators we can see we have to include. If we want to study how it is impacting the women, then drudgery is important. Time burden, how much time women are it is reducing, or time burden is there in that rice cultivation system. Then decision making is another very important indicator. That for their self-esteem, because participation of women in decision making is comparatively less, though it is increasing, but it is less, and it is very much important, and also impacting their adoption of the new technologies, nutrition sensitive agriculture. Then occupational health issues, income, and mechanization, means adoption of the drudgery reducing tools, and all these indicators are important to be considered. Then this is another resource efficient technology, that adopting the cultivation of this vegetable in the waterlogged. Basically, this is suitable for the waterlogged condition in the paddy. It means cultivating vegetables along with the paddy, and this is again a gender responsive technology and quite profitable if you see all the data. Then zero delays in Uttar Pradesh, is the very commercial kind of this potato production is being farmers are doing. But zero delays is cultivation of potato. This is a very much women friendly and environmental friendly, I can say. It requires less time, because tillage is reduced. We are simply sowing the potato, and that way, because tillage is not there, then earthing is also not required. And by that way, it reduce the workload and increase the laser time, because of the omission of this earthing and all, and tillage. Then that way, it also reduces the cost of cultivation by about 27%, labor requirement by about 50%, and irrigation requirement, because mulching is also this advised during this zero tillage cultivation, and because of the mulching, water requirement, irrigation requirement is also reduced, and it improved the water productivity by 146%, and yield was also found increased by about 38%. Soil moisture was also found improved, and this harvesting required, because we need not to dig out this हमें उसकी खुदाई नहीं करनी पड़ती है. Mulching, because mulching, you simply remove the mulch and you will get the produce. So that way, this is one of the very much, very good technology, zero tillage potato production technology. And for the, at least it can be easily adopted in the homestead farming practices and particularly in the nutty garden. In pitcher irrigation in vegetable class, this is another very good area, a good idea, and particularly in the drought-prone areas. Then drudgery, we are talking about drudgery, and drudgery. And while women-friendly, developing the women-friendly tools, it is ergonomical consideration are very much important because preferences, priorities, and working environment of women is different than the men. They are women always prefer the lighter machines, while focus of the men are is basically on the output. It should be whether it is heavy or not, the output should be higher. While women always prefer, it should be they focus on handling, how easy it is in handling, how light it that tool in weight. And if you see then it's simple, many of those who might have those who have visited the village, you might have seen this women, shelling the maize like this. And if you see how frequently they are using fingertips and their palm, a female worker use her fingertip on an average 520 times, her nails 144 times, and her palm 55 times for every single kilogram of meat. Means how much drudgery she is facing in shelling the maize, manually or using her, fingers and palm. So the small tool is shelling, is this small tool is quite useful. This cost only few hundreds and but 150 or 200 something, and that make her the shelling of maize quite easier. Similarly, if you see paddy transplanting, for paddy transplanting, women have to put her fingers 1.2 lakh time into puddle feet to transplant 1 acre of land. Just imagine, it is not putting the finger for transplanting, but in the bending position at the same time in the puddle field. So that you can visualize, even you can imagine how much drudgery she is facing. And similarly in fishing, if in many of the here we have seen in Odisha that is smallholders, they are still fishing in this way. So if she faced like this, then 300 times she has to beat to face 1 acre of land. So that means drudgery is, one of the area. And then again, many posture positions, all these things are affecting their health and, musculoskeletal basically health. Then by enhancing their access, by developing the tools, we can, contribute towards drudgery reduction and reduction of the occupational health hazard. This is the main seller. One is this thing output of this was developed at ICR Siva. And this is basically in many areas where no power at that time. It was developed quite 6-7 years, I think about 8-9 years back. And this can be operated manually also, even if women can also operate. And this, simultaneously we can dehusk and shell also. That way, means a woman, she can operate manually also, and means for this can be converted to motor this thing operated and power operated, I can say. And small is small, but while this thing that if she can operate manually, then it should be lighter in operation, and those things should be taken care. Then pedal operated women friendly coconut dehusker. If you see that, this is the version standing model, and this woman is using, and every time she is making effort to dehusk using this coconut dehusker, she has to pull her hand upward. And pulling head away from the body in upward direction causes awkward posture. Until how long? How many, this coconut she can dehusk this way? And if she tried, then it will be a really a drudgery prone action. and she cannot work for a longer time. Moreover, this blade in this thing is at not at a safe distance, and she can harm her, her this thing. So then we, visualizing, observing these drudgery related aspects, we have developed this sitting model. We have refined this model, and this, sitting is because anemia is there, poor calcium status is there. Then if women with poor calcium, poor iron, poor nutrition, and along with this awkward posture cannot. Then this sitting model, in fact, this is a very good model. And then instead of hand operated, we have, design it so that the way that so that it can be used, by foot itself. And this small intervention of sitting type and pedal operation, it could reduce this 51% arbitrage. So that means it is also safe to operate as blades are at a safe distance from the operator's body. This is small, our thought, our this action, we can improve the condition of the operator. And this is the rotary goat feeding system. You can see what we did. This is, usually we see the static models. Here we simply added the rotation. We have rotated this model, and simple addition of the rotation reduced the cost of labor by 27% and feeding time 30%, and reduce the wastage of feed also, and that way reduce the chances of the contamination. And also women need not to carry feed basket and bending and all that can also be that also avoided. And this way we could able to reduce the drudgery and health hazards. Means kya hota hai na, goats have their own kind of behavior, hai na. It means very poor patients, and if you feed them, if you try to put the feed in this model, or in wherever it is, then they immediately they come, and maybe some injury maybe in your foot or maybe legs, and that can be avoided with this rotary kind of system. Then this easy harvest bag. This is again a very simple, because many of the women are associated with harvesting. Usually in fruit, you go to we in the smallholders farm. Harvesting is usually for farm, particularly in case of vegetables. Women are harvesting the vegetables, and this is a very small intervention. That this is basically ergonomically designed bag, and if women use, or the whoever is harvester, he or she use this bag. This is basically gender responsive. Both male and female can use, and this help in reducing their extension muscles effort by 23 to 55%. Again, it depends on the load, कितना आप उस बैग में लोड भरते हो, इसी वजह से इतना wide range है. And it also further reduce the force exerted on L5 and S1 joints. And also work pulse for female and male, this was only this way. Oxygen consumption, these are the parameters basically when we assess the drudgery and ergonomically designed machine. Then we follow these parameters, and for the evaluation purposes of the performance of that. Then another one is small women-friendly structure that developed by ICR SIVA is the women-friendly multi-purpose integrated vertical nutri-farming system. See, this is a very small version, but you can see, in this structure, we have tried to integrate mushroom. These are two different models. One is with mushroom, and another is with poultry. This is again, this is our patented design, and very comfortably you can get the 80 kg of vegetable from this small structure, and about more than 2,000 eggs can be obtained, and 35 kg meat and 125 kg manure. Means, the requirement of a family, about 60 or 50-60% of the requirement can be met from one system. That way, very useful and very much appreciated by the farmers. And particularly the landless farmer can be, because this is the vertical system, it required very small space, so it can be benefit can be then Nutri Garden is one of because nutrition is one of the concern of the women, and we are, even governments is now also promoting the establishment of Nutri Garden at the at the farm family level, wherever, of course, wherever some land is there in the homestead. Then we have so many models, Nutri Garden models, based on suitable for the different agroecological reason. But this model is, unique in its nature, because here in this Janani Nutri Garden model, we are talking about integrating the biofortified varieties like Bhu Sona, Bhu Krishna, and those varieties are quite good, very rich in antioxidant. And then mushroom cultivation for the proteinous food, and then poultry is also, means mushroom, poultry. We are advocating the integration of mushroom, poultry, honey, and biofortified varieties. And if 100 square meter area is available in the homestead of the family, then we can get the annual vegetable production of about 315 to 325 kg. Then mushroom, about 100 kg of the mushroom, paddy straw mushroom can also be obtained similarly, or oyster mushroom. Then poultry, about 2000 eggs of the poultry eggs can be obtained, 35 kg. Means in the 100 square meter area, if we integrate all these things, then we can the family requirement of the vegetable and mushroom and poultry, meat, and this can be made to a greater extent, I can say. Then many of the extension models are basically this. What I am trying to say, that if you integrate gender perspective, then how the women farmers can be benefited. That is basically the agenda. That is basically the motto of this discussion. See, doubling farmers' income is the aspiration of the every family, and since 2014-15, this doubling farmer income is being discussed at every level, at all the levels, I can say. And this model, this we have synthesized from the Senthil and this thing, and by integrating, if we integrate this model, this upper part of this model is good for doubling the farmer's income. What we are saying, if you integrate the gender perspective, gender related concern, you address their issues as it is there, like assessment and first initial this, what are the issues of the women of that family or that village, and you assess the that we call the situational analysis, and accordingly you design the support system, create the enabling environment, and by that way we could be able to increase the income by about 70%, I can say, and even more. Many of the experiments we have seen that we can increase the more than 70% even. This is the model of gender responsive climate. Climate smart is now climate resilient agriculture is the need of the hour, and we developed this model. Following this, three pillars of CRA, that is adaptation, mitigation, and productivity, and of course the gender consideration. Our focus is the intensification, diversification, particularly here in the rice belt. Rice fallow management is our major focus, and diversifying the rice rice cropping system to the rice pulses, rice oil seed system. Then resiliency is very much important, and then contingency. And basically we are talking about the gender consideration. Then this climate literacy is very much required. Then adoption of the alternative, this livelihood models like processing activities, custom hiring centers, and participation of women in climate management committees. Basically, our advocacy is for the gender balanced climate management committees. And through those interventions, we could find, and if you see that these are some of the technology intervention which we have made, we could be able to, in this, area, we have validated this model in more than 20 villages in Odisha. And we have observed that, by following this, climate resilient and stress tolerant varieties and improved package of practices, these are basically the gender related concern which we have focused. And then by that way, in the rice, 18.5% yield we could enhance, in millets 21.5%, in groundnut also about 20%, in maize we could, this intensification, practices, we could enhance the production by 20%, in pulses and oilseed also we could be able to enhance the production. And it is not only the agricultural output, and we have observed that adoption of climate resilient technologies in, amongst the women farmers were also found increased. As for climate resilient variety, 86.7% enhancement observed. Then in case of DSR, about 77% increased adoption amongst the women farmer was observed, and the vermicomposting and natural farming practices were also found increased. And then higher involvement of women in rice fallow management, that was the success, I can say. And in addition to that, leadership quality and disease participation and decision making was also enhanced in those areas. Then Graham model is another successful model of, these are basically the package of practices which we are advocating, for establishing the success of any of the Graham model. In the Graham model is basically, this is the, holistic model with holistic approach, where we are talking about, from the pond, it is not only the fish production, but we are talking about the production of the vegetables at the burned area of the this farm. This is the complete framework. You can see the details because time is passing, it is crossed the 1 hour. And through this model we have achieved a very great success, and very easily we can, if we adopt the intervention at the different level, then more than 90% enhancement in the income and in the aquaculture productivity, along with the significant improvements in the women empowerment parameter, can be adopted. Then this is the 2 year model. This is basically the sustainable model for the sustainable sheep and mushroom cultivation. Here the rest of the things are there, but the only focus that I would like to say, that social climate setting. The social climate setting, when we talk about women empowerment, is very, very important. And through this small initiative of sensitizing the family and community, we could enhance the access to land, and which was very much required for availing the credit. That way, sometimes else we will be sure. And natural farming is the now priority of the country, and many of the women are, if we talk about, when we talk about natural farming, women are at the center of the activity, and they are contributing a lot, but they are facing the access to quality input and technological related issue, how to produce those bio input resources and how to market. And this is the framework which we are popularizing and establishing. Our many of the successful models are here. Then in the area of poultry, this MAPM model, family poultry production model for nutrition and income. Here you can see this is small initiative is core group concept, just like Krishi Sakhi and Pashu Sakhi. If we focus establishing that core group, or build the capacities of the Krishi Sakhi or Pashu Sakhi, and create the ecosystem of mother unit or cluster-based mother unit, and also provide this, input enterprises, or also, focus on establishing the input enterprises, then, this backyard poultry or family-based production system can be a great success for enhancing the family nutrition and also overall income and overall livelihood of the farm family. Then we are talking about the gender responsive. Likewise, many of the models have been developed, and here I'm not discussing the all. And see, we are talking about the gender responsiveness. See, for the new innovations or for the technological development, we can integrate the gender perspective and develop the gender responsive technologies. But with technologies which have already been developed, then how can we assess those, whether the available technologies are gender responsive or not? For that, we have developed the checklist for assessing how can we assess the gender responsiveness of those already developed technologies. And if required, Dr. Ankur, I can share this book also. Very simple, guidelines are there and checklists are there and methodology is there. Based on that, you can assess your technologies or your interventions whether those are consumed or not. And I think we have discussed a lot here. Just I try to project one example that, how can we integrate the gender perspective in our project title. See, for example, we are working toward the diversification of rice, cultivation model to rice, millet, or pulses or oilseed model. And, these could be the agricultural your parameter. And along with these agricultural indicators, these are some of the gender related indicators which can be followed or should be followed, better to say, for making your technology gender responsive. These are the statements, and don't get afraid कि इतने सारे parameter कैसे consider करेंगे, है ना? It's not like that. These are the statements. Some of parameters are analytical, and some maybe information may be collected in the form of the statement. And see, women are the champions. They are, involved in every activity, and they are contributing to every activity. And we are celebrating every year. We are celebrating their success by, honoring through Padma Shri Award and through, other award by PPVFRA, our institutional award. But my advocacy is that, SIVA advocacy is that, and my personal suggestion is that we all must recognize the efforts of the women in whatever capacity they are contributing. They are contributing, and even if they are not, even then, they are not, engaged in economic activity, but they are contributing a lot at the family level, at the agriculture level, at the village level, at every level, I can say. And now you can see our women are, operating drones and, showing this success in the field. And many of the crores of our women farmers are Lakpati Didi, and about significant number, about 1 crore, more than 90 lakhs are the members of self-help groups. They are contributing in their capacity. Now it's our duty that we have to address, we have to identify the challenges they are facing, and we have to address those challenges through our action, through our effort, through our output, through our research output, through our extension output, or in whatever capacity we are. If we are at the policy making level, then through by advocating, by supporting, by contributing towards developing the enabling policies suitable for women. And I think we all must contribute. Thank you very much. Gender responsive innovations are essential. It is not like we are, developing some. For some 2-3 days back, I was talking to in a forum, and one our person that responded like, they commented that bhashan bahut acha tha. Okay, it is not the bhashan. Here also, for some of you, my presentation may seems like a bhashan, but it is the need of the hour. Women are on the field, they are contributing a lot, and now we have to, it's our duty to address, to support them, to work from them for making our agriculture inclusive, resilient, and sustainable. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such enriching and insightful lecture. We shall now move to the interaction session. Dear participants, if anyone have any question or queries, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask them directly to ma'am.
Stop sharing, madam. Shall I stop sharing?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes, madam. Yes, please.
Okay.
मैम भाषण नहीं कह सकते इसको, इतना बेहतरीन प्रेजेंटेशन आपने बनाया कि महिला सशक्तिकरण के साथ साथ महिला की
डॉक्टर साहब,
कृषि में क्या भूमिका सुनिश्चित करी जाए। आपने
मेरा
एक एक बिंदु को इतना बेहतरीन बताया, बहुत सेल्फ एक्सप्लेनेटरी प्रेजेंटेशन रहा।
बहुत मेरी कोशिश sensitization and my effort was only to sensitize the participants who had joined this program. And if I could succeed even 5 to 10%, really I will feel that yes, achieve target achieved.
Any doubts?
डॉक्टर साहब, मैं शेयर करूंगी जेंडर स्ट्रैटेजी।
हाँ यस प्लीज, आप मुझे भेजिएगा, मैं ये जो रजिस्टर्ड पार्टिसिपेंट्स का ग्रुप है उसमें भेजता हूँ।
Gender disaggregated data strategy checklist so that you can share amongst your participants. And I think, and even I would like to see their suggestions also. If they want some further improvement in those things, then those suggestions will be welcomed, highly welcomed. So, and time थोड़ा ज्यादा लग गया ना?
अरे नहीं नहीं डॉक्टर साहब, बहुत सही समय में आपने कर दिया।
Okay.
यदि कोई पार्टिसिपेंट्स, किसी फैकल्टी, साइंटिस्ट, रिसर्च स्कॉलर, किसी का अगर कोई डाउट है, आप चैट बॉक्स में लिख सकते हैं। डॉक्टर रेवांगिनी उसको पढ़ के मैडम तक पहुंचाएंगे, आप डायरेक्ट पूछ सकते हैं।
डॉक्टर अंकुर, अभी
जी,
अगर किसी के नहीं आ रहा है तो बाद में भी लिख सकते हैं।
कोई बात नहीं मैडम, कोई बात नहीं, ठीक है। डॉक्टर
ठीक
रेवांगिनी आप कंक्लूड करिए।
है।
Okay, sir. As we come to the end of this enriching session, it is my privilege to formally conclude Day 8 of Ankuran 2026. On behalf of AgriMeet Foundation Bharat, our visionary leader Dr. Ankur Sharma sir, and the entire organizing team of Ankuran 2026, I express my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speaker Dr. Mridula Devi ma'am for delivering such an enlightful and inspiring lecture. Ma'am, your remarkable journey, profound knowledge, and valuable insights on value empowerment, gender responsive agriculture, and sustainable rural development have truly inspired all of us. Your words have not only enhanced our understanding, but have also motivated us to think beyond conventional boundaries and work towards more inclusive and sustainable agricultural future. I would also like to extend my sincere thanks to all the participants who have joined us today. And with this, we conclude today's session. We look forward to welcoming you all again in our upcoming lectures of Ankuran 2026. Thank you once again, ma'am. Thank you all, and have a wonderful evening ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhavan. Thank you. Now I'm leaving.
मैडम बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, और मैं निवेदन करूंगा कि यही सहयोग आपका और आपके संस्थान का बतौर नॉलेज पार्टनर बना रहेगा।
नहीं, बना रहेगा, बिल्कुल बना रहेगा। देखो, हम यहाँ पे दे रहे हैं लेक्चर आपको, है ना?
हाँ जी जी मैडम जी जी, थैंक यू सो मच। जी नमस्कार, शुभ रात्रि, नमस्कार।